This team is hungry. This team isn't done. This team is not going to be denied.
Energy all day! Energy all day!
Nick Bolton makes the hit. It's intercepted by Brian Cook. It's Mahomes gunning it long. Caught!
The Chiefs got back to 500 in a big way last week, putting together their most complete game of the season so far. And now with the chance to make it 3 wins in a row, we're back on the national stage for a matchup against the Jags on Monday Night Football. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, we thought this might be like a washout tonight, but it's like a beautiful night. How about this?
So far.
Yeah.
Just keep praying. I mean, the weather can change here real fast, much like Kansas City, just the proximity of where Jacksonville's at. But, yeah, this is a blessing so far. There's moisture, but it's like up the coast. Keep it there.
We have these cool like rain jackets because we thought we'd be getting rained on this entire time, but it wasn't raining when I got here. And Mitch is like, should we still wear them? Yeah, we should still wear them. These are awesome.
Available at the Pro Shop.
There you go. Yeah. Well, let's talk about this matchup a little bit. And for me, ball security is the top priority for the Chiefs here tonight, because if there's one stat that really defines the Jags season so far, and they've been good, they're 3-1 this year, it's takeaways. These guys lead the NFL with 13 takeaways this year. They have at least 3 takeaways in all 4 of their games this season. The Chiefs can't let that happen here tonight.
Well, they're doing crazy things with them. You can get takeaways, but then how do you maximize them? And they have maximized them to a 3-1 record. It's really the first and second paragraph of this team. The fact that they've got 41 points on takeaways, 9 possessions in the opponent half of the 50. But even historically, when you look, they've had 3 takeaways in the first 4 games and held all 4 of their opponents under 400 yards. That has not happened since the 2002 Philadelphia Eagles, coached by Andy Reid. That was his 4th season there. So they're doing things that haven't been seen in a generation with this defense.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. These guys lead the NFL in drives beginning in opponent territory with 9 and points immediately following takeaways with 41. For context, 43% of their points overall this year are following takeaways. And it's interesting because these guys are the number 5 scoring defense in the NFL, due in large part to all those takeaways. It's the number 15 at total defense, though, in terms of yards allowed. They're allowing the 9th most passing yards per game in the league, and they posted the 4th worst third down defense in the NFL. Don't get me wrong, these guys are really good defensively, but I think the Chiefs can move the ball on them. Again, just a matter of not turning the football over.
2 things: they make you patient on offense, and then they think they're going to get a takeaway. These aren't lucky takeaways. I said they're piranha in the swimming pool because they're going to rip it out even after a gain. We've talked about this before. The best time to get a ball out from somebody's after a 10-plus gain. Psychologically, you're thinking, I'm doing something great here. But they've been trained that way. It's very impressive. The other thing is their red zone defense. They're 5th in the league. So they'll let you move the ball, but when they clamp down or take it away as you get close to scoring on them.
And looking at their playmakers, the guy who jumps off the screen is defensive end Josh Hines-Allen. He's 3rd in the NFL right now in pressures at 23. What stands out to you about Hines-Allen?
The fact that only Micah Parsons and Abdul Carter's ahead of him, that's the company he's in. I think he's the most underrated edge rusher in the league. You know, those guys from the Bengals a couple years ago, when you look at Hendrickson and Hubbard, well, Hines-Allen's better than those guys. And you mentioned the pressures. He's also got 18 quarterback hurries in 4 games. I mean, this guy will put heat on you. You've got to account for him, but there's others to account for on this defense. This is just a fast, feisty defense, and Hines-Allen leads the way.
The Chiefs will try to avoid that pass rush here tonight, while also trying to replicate their success on offense last week. They were awesome last week offensively. They scored on 7 of their first 8 possessions. We scored 37 points in that game against the Ravens. That was our most points in a single game since week 3 of the 2023 season. Been a while. Also had our largest margin of victory since the wild card round of the postseason back in 2023. What was the key for the offense last week, and how can we keep that going here tonight?
Red zone execution, red zone execution, red zone execution to get 4 touchdowns in the red zone in 6 trips, but 4 different looks from 4 different players. And then overall to get down there, to get in that position, to attack horizontally as well as vertically. I told you 2 weeks ago I was excited after the Giants game because there was glimpses of the flip, pass, jet sweep, end around horizontal plays. Now, hopefully Worthy can go. but either he or Brashard Smith, when they attack the corner on that, that's 4-2 or 4-3 running those. So a 12-yard design play becomes 35 like last week. And then in the red zone, you have to attack horizontally and vertically from all different spots. And they showed that last week. I was fired up about it.
Well, that was the offense we saw in training camp. That's the offense we know that they can be. Hopefully we see it again here tonight. I do want to talk about the Jags offense a little bit, though, and it all begins with their tailback, Travis Etienne. What a renaissance kind of season for him. Remember, this was a first-round pick not too long ago, a player that had back-to-back years with 1,000 rushing yards not too long ago. Just kind of a bad season last year. Took a back seat as part of a committee with Tank Bigsby last year. Only had 500 rushing yards. Well, he's great this season, maybe better than he's ever been. He's averaging over 6 yards per carry right now, and he's third in the NFL in rushing yards. How do we slow down Etienne tonight?
Well, keep in mind, we played these guys twice in 2022, and Etienne had a monster year. He had 1,300 all-purpose yards that year.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't put up the receiving numbers as much this year, but he can. So he's super fast. He also can attack the edge. And you've just got to be able to be in position first. It's the old, I sound like Barber here, but the align and attack. You've got to align first. You cannot let him hit the edge. This is a decent offensive line. Not awesome, but decent. And if you give Etienne just a crack or you get out of position, he'll make it a big play. He's got 10-plus runs. I mean, you look at what he's done in that regard, third in the NFL in 10-plus runs with 2 10-plus touchdowns. So he's a big play waiting to happen. Again, on a play that's not designed to get a big play, he can make a big play.
Yeah, he sets the tone for their whole offense, and when he's running well, it sets up their quick passing game with Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence actually has the second fastest average time to throw of any quarterback in the NFL this year at 2.57 seconds. Trails only Aaron Rodgers in that category. What do you make of Lawrence's season so far?
Well, I just think the new staff has probably had their influence on him. Now, he did not have an interception last week. It's the first time in 7 games he has not had a pick. So they're plus 13 in takeaways, but they're plus 9. That means they've had 4 giveaways. The Chiefs only have 1, by the way. So he still will turn it over. Since he's been the 1-1 in the 21 draft, he has 72 giveaways. That's the most of any player in the NFL. This staff is trying to reduce things for him, I think, and try to just keep him kind of start over with him, but don't turn it over, although he had 4 interceptions in the first 3 games.
Well, it's kind of ironic because he actually has more wins already this season than he had all of last season. He went 2-8 as a starter last year, has 3 wins this year already.
And Matt, I'll say this too. They have 12 drops. They have 13 drops.
Yeah.
The most in the league. 5 more than 31st. So he needs some help. His completion percentage is down, but it's a little bit weird because they're just dropping so many passes. Brian Thomas has dropped 5.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because, yeah, he has these wins, but his numbers in terms of passer rating and completion percentage are near the very bottom of the NFL. Not all his fault, like you said, but still. And I think that quick passing game kind of has its limitations. So here's some nerdy stuff for you. He's only attempted 11 passes that traveled 20 or more yards downfield this year, and he's completed just 1 of those. So he's 20th in the NFL in attempting those passes. Conversely, he leads the NFL in attempts of between 10 and 19 air yards. He's only averaging like 5.7 yards per attempt, though, when he's throwing the football. So when you're facing an offense like this, it's so reliant on timing. Talking about the Chiefs defense, covering Lawrence's first read is the top priority for them here tonight.
Big time. And Spags, we know, will disguise those first reads. Maybe the best at it in the NFL. The other thing is tackling. When you talk about the ball coming out fast, in their scheme, you're going to be in space and you have to tackle at 8 yards. Don't make an 8-yard gain into 18 or 28. But this team, this Chiefs team, ever since the opening game in Brazil, has been a superb tackling team.
Well, the defense in general, really since week 2, has been awesome. Since week 2, the Chiefs have allowed the fewest points, or the second fewest points in the NFL of any team. What's impressed you about this defense, especially since week 2?
I know we're going to hit Drew Tranquil here in a second, but I think the fact that they have Spags' defense is complicated. You and I know that. We talk about it. I mean, so you're taking calc 3, and it's not necessarily going to command it right away. I think it's been more of getting kind of more ingrained into the scheme, especially with all the combinations that he plays. And we've seen Noel Williams climb up as a young player at corner, but the safeties have been better. It's about communication. It's about understanding and then getting the complication down and then as I mentioned, it sounds simplistic like 7th grade, but tackle. And they have tackled well at all 3 levels of this defense over the past 3 weeks.
And how about the pass rush? I think the pass rush has been great, particularly over the last 2 weeks. The Chiefs have generated a pressure rate over 50% in each of their last 2 games, and that was despite blitzing fewer than 10 times in both games. Trevor Lawrence has only been sacked 3 times this year, that's fewest of any quarterback in the NFL. It's due in large part, though, to that quick release time. Like I said earlier, if you can cover his first read, the pass rush can then get to work.
It's harder to do with him when you look at his, he's 6'5", 6'6", actually. But you've got to disrupt his timing, too. When the ball comes out fast, I talk about affecting the physics of the throw, and that means as much as getting a sack, a pass batted down, or a pass, the flight of a pass affected here, and Juju going by the door hinge. But the fact
you guys
that,
are right behind us, yeah.
The fact that Xavier Worthy, the point is, though, you can affect the physics of the throw. So get your hands up in the passing lane. Be assignment sound. If you read pass, then either deflect the airflow or affect the airflow.
Well, one player who's been right in the middle of the Chiefs' defensive success over the last few weeks and the last several years is linebacker Drew Tranquill. And Mitch had a chance to catch up with Drew on our podcast earlier this week.
How do you keep it rolling on defense after 3 awesome weeks? You bring in the Fort Wayne Flash, Drew Tranquill. First of all, stacking these games up. What's happened, and where do you go from here?
Well, Fort Wayne Flash, I haven't heard that one before, but I appreciate that nickname. I feel like the energy and execution have kind of been the 2 words we've been hanging on to. We did a good job of that this past week against a really good offense, the number 1 offense coming in, and they have playmakers all over the field. You talk about Lamar, you talk about Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, then you go to the wide receivers, their tight ends. Isaiah Likely comes back, so they've got guys that can, create problems for you. And we did a nice job keeping a roof over the top of it and containing those guys.
The theme of this podcast, stops and steals, and talking with Spags and some of the other guys. We got to get enough stops and steals. Well, you got 4 stops, 3 of those on 4th down, but then to get the steals, to get 4 takeaways in 2 weeks, what's been the key there, and how big is that?
Well, you talk about the stops. We see those a lot like steals. Whenever you stop a team and they turn it over on downs, we consider that a turnover as well. And then obviously we've been taking the ball away. Leo with the incredible one-handed interception this past game. And then Lamar, trying to make a play happen, bumps into this guy, and we're able to recover that and get the ball back to the offense. But, you talk about starting in New York. We hadn't had any takeaways so far in the season, and to have 4 through 2 games is exciting.
Did you teach Leo that play? I mean, you were the safety at Notre Dame.
Leo has a ton of tricks in his bag, man. Taking on double teams, downhill in the run game, coverage, acrobatic catch like that. Man, he's such a good ball player. We're lucky to have him.
What has happened since week 1? Because this has been a giant rise since that first game.
Well, we didn't play our best ball, especially on the defensive side, and that's all I can really speak to is and we didn't execute. Our energy wasn't there, and I think you see a sense of urgency in a group of guys who have won championships together and have played a long time together. We bring some new guys in free agency. We draft some guys, get those guys up to speed. We had a few guys with injuries during training camp that were out, and to get those guys back together, get us playing, get us on the same page. We're just trying to get better week after week, and we were able to do that this past week.
You guys combo it crazy. Like there'll be 3 safety nickel. There'll be all these combos moving in and out. How big is communication when you've got different schemes and different personnel flowing all the time?
Well, it's difficult, and our fans, in a good way, make it hard on us at Arrowhead. It's very, very loud. We have communication checks within our calls. Sometimes guys in this past game didn't get those, and we got to clean that up. But it's super loud in there, and it can be complicated. He puts a lot on Nick's plate. But we've got experience at each level in the defense, and guys are able to communicate. And when we're on the same page and flying around, we can play some good football.
What happened on the fumble recovery? All of a sudden there's this, you got the ball and you come flying out.
Well, yeah, like I said, Lamar tried to make a play. Leo was kind of spying him a little bit. He cut one way and then cut back behind his center. And we had a ton of guys swarming in. Chris, George, Leo, our safeties were collapsing in. Our linebackers were coming in. And I think he just hit the back of his center, Lindenbaum there, and ball kind of bounced right to me. And I wish I would have stayed on my feet and tried to make a play on it, but we were able to get it back to Patrick and those guys. It was good.
Final question, and it has to do with Jacksonville. Here they are 3-1, kind of a fast and feisty group, but ETN's back. What about Trevor Lawrence, ETN, and the Jacksonville offense?
Well, to speak to ETN, first and foremost, I mean, he's averaging almost 6 yards a carry. He's really efficient. I mean, he's got really good contact balance and great yards after contact. And so we'll have to do a really good job of tackling him. Trevor's been really efficient, spreading the ball around, getting to a lot of different guys, got playmakers on the outside. So it'll be a good challenge for us this week.
So it's stops and steals, but maybe a scoop and score.
Maybe a scoop and score. Come on.
Let's go.
I'd be down for that.
All right, let's go.
All right, great stuff there from Drew Tranquil. Every time he talks, I listen. I mean, we're so fortunate to have that guy on our team, aren't we?
He won the NFL chess championship, right?
He's a genius, yeah.
I mean, he's super smart. But he said, it sounds cliche, but when he said energy and effort, that leads to takeaways. That leads to, they've been incredible on third down the last 2 weeks. 4 of 20 on third down defense. I don't care who you're playing. To do that is 16 stops on third down. That's remarkable, and better in the red zone. But again, they're getting this down. And Spags throws fastballs, curveballs. He throws cutters at you. I mean, the fact that personnel scheme, Trevor Lawrence will not see the same look twice tonight, and so he has a challenge. But you also have to execute with energy, just like Drew said.
And Drew being on our team is such a testament to Brett Veach, I think, because we make a big deal out of the first week of free agency. But you remember when we signed Drew? It was like the third week of free agency a couple years ago on a Friday at 4 o'clock. I was getting packed up, ready to go for the day, and it's like we signed Drew Tranquil. It's paid off, huh?
And he fits Spags because he's a hybrid guy. He played safety at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And some said, he was a liability with the Chargers because he was undersized. Well, we've seen him play bigger than his size. And he's not out of now playing the mic when Bolt got hurt, maybe a little over the skis with him. But the fact that he can cover and rush and tackle and come out with the ball like last week he's an asset to this team, obviously, in many ways, and so cerebral.
He sure is. We're going to be inactives here, allegedly, in about 4 minutes. You never know. The ones that we're watching, Xavier Worthy is the big one. He popped up in the injury report yesterday with an ankle injury in addition to a shoulder injury. We've been watching him warm up. He's directly behind us. He is warming up, so we'll know if Xavier's going to play here in a couple minutes. Hopefully he can go. The others that we're watching, Omar Norman-Lott is questionable with a shoulder injury tonight. Hurt his shoulder in practice on Friday, did not practice on Saturday. We'll see if he can go. We know Mike Dana is going to play, as far as I know. He has no injury designation coming into this game. Hasn't played in a while, hasn't played since the Eagles game. Played just 3 snaps in that matchup before getting hurt. Great to have Mike back here tonight.
Yeah, I talked to him this week. He's excited, wanting to get back on the field. And again, solid but beyond solid, right? Again, and we talked about holding the edge against ETN or having the right spot. That's the Wikipedia definition of Mike Dana.
Christian Fulton is another one that we're watching. He has an ankle injury, questionable coming in. Played just 2 snaps in that Eagles game a couple weeks ago. Have not seen him since. I saw Christian warming up over there. We'll see if he'll be able to go. That'd be great if we can get him back. But if not, Noel Williams continually has shown us some things.
Yeah, he's climbing in a hurry. And I just love this 25 rookie class. Is starting to kind of give you a little of the 22 feel, is it not, with what Josh Simmons has done? Talking about Noah Williams, go right to Omar Norman-Lott. We go right down the line with these guys. Rashard Smith, we can get to him in a second. But the 25 class now is becoming, instead of a luxury, a necessity in many ways. And if Fulton can't go, it's comforting. And I've got every bit of confidence in Noah Williams.
You mentioned Rashard Smith. He showed some things last week, I thought. Maybe a big opportunity for him tonight. What do you think?
He can do so many things. Again, a defense has to account for where he's at. That's why if he and Worthy are on the field at the same time, it becomes, now what do we do? You cannot bracket Kelsey if you do that. You can't. Because, again, even if it's going back to the flip pass jet sweep, that's 4-2 or 4-3 attacking the edge. That terrifies a guy like Hines Allen because he wants to get upfield. And if the guy's going by, and think of the Bosa's, like you just screwed up the play. So you use the ability of that player against them with that speed. But he also can get down the field, second and third level throws, and can make big plays. I'm excited for Rashard Smith because I see a little more every week.
That play you're talking about is the Jerick McKinnon Memorial play, right, where Nick Bosa's turning around saying, where'd he go?
Right under his armpit.
Right. Okay, so one that we're watching for Jacksonville is defensive end Trayvon Walker, a very good player, number 1 overall pick a handful of years ago. He is questionable with a wrist injury. He had wrist surgery like on Monday or something. We'll see if he can go tonight. Either way, it's a big deal because he's coming off back-to-back seasons with double-digit sack totals. He ranks second on this team in pressures. We'll see if he can play. If he can't play, that's a huge deal. And if he can play, but he's limited in any way, also a big deal.
Well, we talked about Hines Allen. Then you got Devin Lloyd, who's having an incredible year. He leads the NFL in takeaways. But Trayvon Walker, so if we're talking about different weapons on offense for the Chiefs, it's that way with the Jags, especially those three in kind of a diamonds or a triangle form, I should say, because you got Hines Allen a lot over here. Then you'll have Trayvon Walker and then Devin Lloyd in the middle. Those three are all like all-pro defenders. So he's a big-time player, impact player when you look at what he's done, 2 sacks. But if he's out, you can look to shade to Hines Allen a little bit in your protections.
Well, here we go, Mitch. He's out. So we just got the inactives.
Okay.
Trayvon Walker is not going to play here tonight. That's a big deal for the reasons Mitch just laid out. For the Chiefs, good news. Xavier Worthy is active tonight. So everyone was freaking out yesterday. Xavier Worthy is going to play here tonight.
I was freaking out
He's
yesterday.
active. I was
He
too.
practiced.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
What do you mean?
What happened?
I was eating my cheeseburger at dinner saying, what do you mean he's questionable? Anyway, Xavier is active. A little bit of bad news, though. Omar Norman Lott inactive here tonight with that shoulder injury. And Christian Fulton also inactive here tonight. But I'll take what I can get. I'm glad Xavier is active and Trayvon Walker is not.
No, that's again, huge. That'd be like taking Karlaftis out of the Chiefs, or even like a Chris Jones. That's what that is. And again, they've got capable dudes, but now all of a sudden your play calling, your protections, you can think a little bit differently here and maybe open up a few more plays in the iPad because Trayvon Walker's out.
Yeah, sure is. It'll be interesting. We'll see how the Chiefs come out here tonight. But, I want to close with this. We saw the Chiefs put together their most complete game of the season last week. What better time than on Monday Night Football with the nation watching? Just go ahead and do that again. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.